Siam, Nostalgia Siam. I'd like to kind of like set us up for the next panel of youth. The time that I spent walking over here, thought about someone. That someone was my late uncle. And there's two things. Number one, he was a very good speaker. He was called upon in many occasions to speak on behalf of the people, to the people, places like this, our college graduation. I remember he was up at Simiama one time speaking to a bunch of state leaders, legislators, business owners and the like at the Simiama Resort. And everywhere he went, he wore shorts. When it was an important occasion, he put on a shirt with a collar. I remember sitting at the Whatcom waiting for college graduation, and I was sitting with my cousin Pam, and I said, Pam, and we were all decked out, with the tie and everything, and I said, where's Uncle Smitty? Oh, he's on his way. Do you think he's wearing shorts? We both laughed. We said, yeah, he probably is. And sure enough, right at the time for him to welcome the people, he walks up, and it was his trademark, And there's two things. He's always there for you, but he's also trying to tell you that he's not better than anybody. And the other part about my uncle is that as like here and like any place else, he went out, and I'm just passing on his work to you today, in that he said we're all on this healing journey together, and you got to know and understand the journey they're on, but we're on this together. Nobody's excluded from this work as a people, this healing journey that we're all on. I hope you can all accept that in your life, in the work that you do, and the people that you work for, especially your family. And in this journey together, we learn forgiveness. We learn how to forgive. We need that now more than ever, especially ourselves. Learn how to forgive yourself. Because then if we can do that together, then we can learn how to fight. I was here yesterday listening to the man lost his son, and he's so angry. He's so ready to fight. And a lot of us are ready to fight. And we fight in our own way with our voices, with our getting off our duff and going and doing something for somebody. But most importantly, I think we need to learn how to fight our own apathy, our own selfishness, our own greed. These things that we have as values in this country need to change, and they change with us. We need to learn empathy. We need to learn compassion. We need to learn how to give. So I hope that's what we can come away from today in this work that we're doing, that we learn these things from each other, this sharing, this gratitude, this understanding. Some years ago, as chairman for the nation, I was running across a parking lot to a meeting, and my auntie stopped me, and she pointed her finger at me, and she said, Daryl, you got to build a dormitory. And I didn't know what she meant by that until I went to some of your meetings that where you were caseworkers and you were staffing children, and the god-awful things that I learned about what we're doing to our children, to that next generation. So that's what I did, and we built the Lummi Youth Academy. And at the academy were young children who needed a place to live, young children that had struggles, high school children, young children that wanted to get their education. And so they came to the Lummi Youth Academy. In that time there was a lot of challenges, real heartfelt challenges. And I got this advice, and it might be from somebody in this room. It might have came off the internet, I don't know. But it was, to me, it was, Daryl, when you don't know what to do, put your last name on that child. So I did. So one of the young panelists today, her name is Bella James, I put my name on her. I have to tell you something though, by doing that, here it is, 2023, I don't even know how long ago that was when I was there. The time just is so fleeting, you know, but I have to tell you, I'm probably the richest guy in town. I'm probably the richest guy in the world from there. Those kids who are now young adults now are just so loving today, and it fills me up, and I feel pretty rich from that time. So that's my introduction of the next panel, and hopefully we can keep this going. I'd advise you to look up the Chelangan Village at Lummi, very innovative program. And then I can hear Elizabeth now, because I want you all to come to the Pickford Theater and watch this film that we made about Bella's life, as well as a couple other community members. I haven't told the Pickford yet, but you know, and haven't picked a date yet, but we're going to do this. I want you to come to see this film. I think we can learn and grow together. So, Siam Nostalgia Hashka.
Thank you so much. I happen to be holding two microphones because I'm about to introduce two really incredible people who are leaders in our community. Keith, can you keep up with all the different microphones? Two incredible human beings who do an amazing job of holding our young people, for caring for them. And it is so beautiful and such a gift to get to introduce Jason McGill, the Executive Director of Northwest Youth Services, and Carrie Hawley from Birch Bay Blaine Thrives to hold the space for our young people, our next gen vocals and vision panel.
Thank you. You can probably push it.
Thank you. Woohoo! Oh, it works.
I see y'all back there.
Yeah. We just got to listen to such beautiful conversations up here, and we want to continue that same storytelling. So I want to invite the next gen panel. We were calling them a youth panel, and they are not youth. They are next gen. And they are here to share their stories and to invite you into their world and tell you what they need, what we need to hear from them. And so come on down, take a seat up here. Lots of love in the room. So, like Sue said, I'm Carrie Hawley. I work for the Blaine School District, and I also co-facilitate the Birch Bay Blaine Thrives Community Coalition. And Jason will introduce himself when it works his way over there, but we really just want to hopefully speak less and listen more. So we're gonna turn it over and let our panel introduce themselves, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, so my name is Reagan. I am an intern at the ground floor, which is a day center for homeless, at-risk, and runaway youth, ages 13 to 24. And I'm really excited to share my thoughts today.
Hey everyone, my name's Isla Nilsson, and I'm here today representing Whatcom County Teen Court. For those of you who don't know, Whatcom County Teen Court is a youth-led diversion service that advocates for youth offenders in our county and helps restore them back to the community.
Hi, my name's Morgan Adams. I'm with the Meridian School District. I'm a school board representative, and I'm excited to share all my thoughts.
My name is Andre. Here with the Northwest Youth Services today.
Natsiam Nastelicha, Quincia Sanasnatcha Klamisan. My name's Isabella James, and I'm from the Lummi Reservation. My traditional name is Quincia. I work with Children of the Set and Sun Productions as a podcast producer called Young and Indigenous Podcasts. It's a podcast about Indigenous knowledge, storytelling, and history. So we go out and interview elders and youth about their way of life and their culture, and to provide those stories for people in our community to know about us and to have stories be told in our ways. And then I was also a part of the opioid documentary, a little bit of what you heard about in my life and my story of being a child of an addict. Not, both of my parents, but also my siblings. And furthermore, there's a lot of my family members that are lost in addiction, and I really, for my hope and future is just to continue to be good leadership for them, to know that there's hope in the world, that they can do things with their life.
Hi, my name is Cyrus Sego-Smith. You could see it up there. I'm here with Northwest as well. I'm a self-titled CEO, Community Engagement Officer. My job is to uplift and connect people. I plan on throwing an event with them, through them, called Fabricon. Later on, I'm going to talk more about that and those kind of things. But I just can't wait to have my voice heard. And yeah.
And as stated, I'm Jason McGill, pronouns he, him, and the Executive Director for Northwest Youth Services, which, just by the way, if you haven't heard of us, we are a local nonprofit that serves young youth and young adults experiencing homelessness, unstably housed. We have queer youth services, we have the teen court, and so there's various avenues that young people can get connected to Northwest Youth Services. And I also want to give a shout out to a handful of our staff who were able to make it out here today, so please also give them a round of applause, because they do this work every single day with very limited pay. Yes. They do this work with compassion, and that's what we've heard throughout the past couple days here, was compassion and love. And wow, we have an incredible staff body who is in it every day with and for young people, and with very little pay, So as a community, when we talk about community, we also have to remember the folks doing this work, and they have to be compensated for that as well. But I'm not going to take up too much time. I can take up a lot of time, y'all. If you know me, I have lots of thoughts about many things, but this is not about me. This is about these incredible humans who decided to join us today and to uplift their voices, because, again, as it's titled, the next generation, they deserve to have their voices heard and be a part of this community change that we're trying to do here. So I'm going to kick it off with the first question. Y'all ready? All right. Oh, also, shout out to Bellingham High School. This is like the first place that the technology has been spot on, so thank y'all. All right, the first question here, I have to look at my phone here. And we can just go popcorn style, y'all, however you want to do. But what is it that you feel needs to be said to this group of folks out here? And who wants to start us out?
I can start. Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think I'll just tell you a little about, my life and my story, and I think that really informs what I think needs to be heard. And generally, it would be the social stigma related to being an addict. I grew up in a conservative area, not here, kind of down in the Tacoma area, and I think that even if people don't show it, you can tell when people have negative feelings about you and when you are an addict, and that's like a super impactful thing when you don't feel like you belong or that you're welcome. I think it can discourage individuals from accessing care, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so when I was an addict, I didn't utilize any social systems or programs or groups to get clean. I really relied on my community and my friends. A lot of the groups available were not inclusive for me personally. As a queer person, I didn't want to access services through religious means or other things because I didn't feel comfortable in that. And so it's a huge passion of mine to want to start groups that are inclusive for all folks from all backgrounds, that they can feel welcome and safe in a space. And so I think what really needs to be heard is that we could all examine within ourselves the ways that the systems show up in our behavior, and that we really need to think about the community as all the people in it, all of the folks that are struggling or, going through it. That's really important. And I think that, the recent ordinance to ban public drug use was really disappointing to me personally. And I think in tandem, the new jail situation, I very much oppose that and I do not love. And I don't think that that is a system of care. And we really need those things. So, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, since I have the mic, I will go, but I'm kind of going to build off of that idea, and I think one of the things that I cannot emphasize enough is the importance of community and belonging to any youth, young adult, or just human being in general. I think something that I see as a teenager in high school is a lack of community and belonging from my peers and people that I interact with. And I think that that is one of the biggest challenges that someone can face, is not having that support from their community and the people around them. And so that's something we strive to address. Well, in Teen Court, one of our mottos is that we strive to address harm through healing and accountability instead of punishment. And so my individual goal, along with many others I know, is that we strive to address this harm by restoring our youth offenders back into the community instead of pushing them away, because the only way that you are able to heal as a person and community, town, wherever you are, is as a community together. It's not an individual effort. It's something that takes everyone. So that's what we do in Teen Court, is we take our team, we take everyone, and we let these people know that they are loved and that they are cared for and that they have community wherever they are, whoever they are, and that whatever they need, we are there for them no matter what.
Oh, yes.
Andre. So something I've been thinking about a lot is drugs. I mean, it's kind of been my life for a while. Clean now, but what comes with that, there's a lot, aside from like death, disease, jail, one thing leads to another. You do drugs, you get high, and you're more than likely going to commit a crime somehow, buying the drugs, right? So I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, more than any one person can understand by just thinking about it and talking about it with friends and trying to just understand it. It takes time and study to truly understand drugs and the effect they have on the world, and not just in the world, but our communities. And when you break it down and you get to the bottom of it, all the aspects you get, the only one true understanding of drugs you get in the world, in our community, I feel like is what we need to be done. And we need to understand, we need to kind of think about it more. And, knowing the problem fully is how and knowing fully how the whole problem equation, drugs work, will you begin to understand how to come up with the proper solution. So one thing leads to another, and in that order, it seems simple. It's probably a lot, but think about it, you probably figure it out.
I think what's really important is just like building relationships and building bridges for our communities to work together as one, because we're all going through this together in Whatcom County and outside of it. So I think it's just really important for us to come together so that we're able to work with one another to be able to reach out to the people that are going through addiction, and just kind of like building things like the Lummi Youth Academy or like Shillington Village. I've been in both of those places, and they were just great access for people to be successful in their life. And I find it, if we have those opportunities and support, and to have those counselors and people that is needed, I think a lot of things can be successful in other communities if we had those outside of in Whatcom County as well. So.
I already have a mic. So the question, what was could you run that back again really quick?
The question is again is what is it that you feel needs to be heard and said to this group of folks out here?
Okay. So can I just relate like my story or like?
However you want to.
Okay. So to begin, really, I just want to start with like where I grew up and how I grew up. I grew up with 5 siblings. We were Whatcom County primarily. We grew up here, but we're from California, so we kind of had to adjust after the, going from really nice sunny weather to what we all know as now. That was a lot, but so in school particularly, I felt knowing my parents, because we weren't predominantly, we weren't very rich folk. We were poor, to be exact, and all of us, me and my siblings, we had a lot of aspirations and things like that. We wanted to be in sports, we wanted to do creative things and tasks like that. But having to keep the playing field equal for all of the siblings was hard and harsh on my mom, because she wanted to make it all equal, like I said, for all of us. So if one of us played sports, the rest of us had to play sports. And that added up for a parent, as you can imagine, after a while. So I didn't really have that opportunity to do a lot of these, what they say is extracurricular activities growing up, and that definitely hindered my ability to explore myself. And I think that we kind of had like a sort of rehearsal at some point about what we were going to say. And one topic that we came to the conclusion of is, we're calling it third-party spaces. For you that don't know what that could mean, is home and school is 1 and 2, so a third-party space would be somewhere outside of those 2. And a third-party space for me, at least one that I found growing up, in middle school especially, was youth group. Me and my friends would go to youth group. We weren't necessarily involved super heavily in the religious side of it, but it was a good place to get away from our home and maybe family troubles or, as you can imagine, stuff like that. And for me, like my family troubles, like my dad, a very amazing man. He's been sober for years now, but he was an alcoholic. And seeing him drink every day and break angry and all these kinds of things, youth group was something to look forward to, something to get away from my day-to-day lifestyle and to really just break into that ground and feel safe, feel comfortable. And I know for a lot of my friends, it was the same thing for them. That's what we were really doing that for. And going over it with all of you, we kind of came to the conclusion that those spaces are very far and wide in between in Whatcom County. And I know for a fact, a lot of youth, or the next generation, we would really benefit from having more of those kinds of spaces.
For free.
Yes. So at some point, I had to grow up, just like the rest of us and all of you here. I wasn't a teenager anymore. I was done dealing with my dad and dealing with the back and forth. So I put myself into, I tried to move out. And by doing that, I put myself into homelessness, because at that age, I moved into a household with like several other people there, and we were one person over the rent limit, and you can imagine who that one person was. It was me. So one of the roommates was kind of pushing me and urging me to move out faster than what I was capable of, because I was still trying to figure out this adult-like normal world, and that pushed me into homelessness. So to branch off of that, being homeless, which lasted for about 3 years, I did what most people do at the start, call your friends, your buddies, you do the whole couch surfing bit, which I'm not proud of, but here I am now. And I learned a lot from that experience. I learned so much. Just, you know, seeing people thrive in their lives around me, especially on the weekends when people go to all the bars and all the clubs and enjoy themselves and seem to be in this nice light, you know. I wanted to feel like they did. I wanted to feel comfortable, charismatic, and like I had something to prove to myself, but I couldn't do that. Because to me, how am I going to go out and find a job, go to interviews, in clothes that are 6 days worn, so I'm not showering, I don't have a space where I can do free laundry, all that kind of jazz, right? So like bad haircut, you know, that kind of look. And to me, that added up for a while. It just kind of, I'd say it diminished my desire to try because I felt like I couldn't. I felt like I shouldn't. I didn't have that chance, right? And after a while, I did find Northwest, and they were the people who have elevated me and helped make me reach this point in time to where I could speak to you. So I just want to thank you guys again for that. You know, anyone else that is in my situation at that time, I just want to say, like, they can do it too. But we need to, as a people, really rally and think about what me and the rest of them are saying and take into consideration these words. Like, you know, I never thought I'd be here. Even 6 months ago, did not think I'd be here in front of all of you. So again, I just really want to reflect on that sort of like yin-yang, you know, where I was and where I am now. Sorry, I'm referencing thy notes. So yeah, one thing I do want to say is a lot of the resources here, as good as they are, I think the resources, the type of resource needs to change. I like to say we're giving a lot of handouts, but why aren't we giving hand-ups? Why aren't we truly looking at what people need to actually grow and elevate and feel charismatic and feel comfortable enough to do something like this or go to an interview and find a job? Because, you know, a handout could be a resource for the day, but like, think about like a haircut voucher. That's a resource for weeks for them to feel more comfortable. And like free clothes are very nice, right? But if it's a bunch of mismatching clothes that don't fit, what's that really doing, you know? So I just want to really say that and like get people to think about the hand up. Let's elevate people instead of just giving that handout, period, and then just ending the conversation there. So, yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. Did any of you want to comment or reply to anything that your peers had said before we move on to the next question?
I completely agree with Cyrus so much. I'm in high school right now, and I'm currently in a lot of sports, and I would say that's definitely like an area of another like safe place for me rather than school and home, a third place or third party. So I would say just having those like extracurriculars open for everyone and like for free, like equipment costs money. It's not just like paying to attend in the sport or club or anything you're interested, like Cyrus did the youth group. Yeah.
So I'm also going to add on to that, and I'll pass it to you in just a second, but about the lack of third spaces, that's something that I see in my community too. So I live in Linden, which small little farm town, right? There's not a ton to do. And so being a high school student, every weekend I see what people go do for fun is they go to the lot, right? It's the McDonald's parking lot, and everyone goes and just hangs out there, and it's really silly if you think about it, but it's all there really is to do. And so if you're a bored teenager, you go to the lot, you drink and you smoke with your friends, and there's not that many alternatives. And I was fortunate enough that I found so many alternatives to doing that, one of those being the Whatcom County library system for me is when I was bored or when I needed a place to stay after school, I'd go to the library system, which was incredible. I love the library. Shout out to you librarians, you're awesome. But third spaces such as libraries, youth groups, extracurricular activities are what helps youth in need that support. Like I said about communities, any of those are communities. Third spaces, it creates a sense of belonging for kids, and they have a place to go when they need help. They have supportive adults in their life and peers that are there for them to help support them. And I cannot express that enough, like the importance of community and having support from the people around you.
Thank you. I agree. Yeah, I think that all of these conversations kind of demonstrate that as much as, we all are really working really hard on the social systems and that we all want to make a difference, that there are still issues and cracks in the system that people fall through, and that we still do, certain groups of folks a disservice. And I just want to remind everyone that is in these social systems that we are in a position of power, and all of our choices have consequences, I guess, and also like good things can come from that, and that it is crucial to acknowledge that power and know that, even if you feel like you are helping out, like the free clothes example, I think people tend to think that, donating their stuff is a really good thing. But at the end of the day, everybody deserves that first pick, or everybody deserves a nice outfit or like a fresh situation, and we need to be conscious of that. So.
Yes.
So, go ahead.
I just have one more thing that sparked a thought. So again, I'm here representing Whatcom County Teen Court, which is my passion, my pride. I love it. I think it's an amazing program. So something that we strive to do regarding third spaces is that we see around 22 respondents a year. Respondents meaning students or youth who are responding to certain actions that have put them in a place where they need to go through the court system and respond to those actions, hence the term respondents. And when I see respondents, along with any other advocates, which can range from, we have over 100 student volunteers per year, reaching out and helping us and helping our program grow throughout the school districts and everything. But we see our respondents and we look at their interests and their activities, their hobbies. We say, oh, you like horse riding? That's awesome. Let's get you involved with this program. And so one of the responding choices that we tend to assign respondents that come through our program is community service, which is something, I love community service. I think it's incredible, and I think everyone should get a chance to do it in their lifetime. But especially these respondents, so we see their interests, their programs, what they love to do, and we try and incorporate that into our plan for them to achieve in the next year. So say, one of my favorite examples is that there is a organization that I can't remember the name of, but it's youth that work with animals as a form of therapy as community service, which is one of my favorite things that I've seen assigned to students and my peers that go through our program. Because if you're an animal lover and you need some community service, it's perfect. And it, like I said, creates that amazing third space for these students where they get to know like-minded individuals and peers through these programs that help them keep them away from other not as awesome actions. So yeah, third space is super important.
So quick audience participation. Who has heard third space for the first time today? So when we sat down with this group, they were saying it, and we were like, the adults in the room were like, time out. What is a third space? And we all had this aha moment. It just, school, home, then they have nowhere else to go. And so if there is one takeaway, I think there will be hundreds of takeaways from the last 2 days. It's third space. This is what they're asking for. So I'm glad I wasn't the only one in that room that didn't know what a third space was. So thank you. Our next question is kind of a softball, but what gives you hope? Where do you guys find hope as you interact with the world right now?
You're good.
Okay, I'll go. I think what gives me hope is the sun, guys. It's summertime. Definitely that, but as well as my friends and community members that I'm close to, getting to spend time with them, and just those moments where everybody is experiencing joy and freedom. Like that's really what gives me hope. Especially, some of my friends are here today, and they really embody harm reduction and are really like down for the community. And I think having those core values and having these tough conversations, but it's still good and freeing, like that's what gives me hope.
Yeah.
Round of applause. So this is a really basic response, but people are what give me hope. I continue to meet amazing people every single day. Like these people on the panel with me, I didn't know a single one of these people before last week, and over these past couple of days, I've got to know them so well, and I'm so grateful that I have, because I've got to learn shared stories and experiences and learn and grow from that. I'd also like to share, I got the amazing opportunity to student teach last year in a kindergarten classroom, which was the highlight of my day. But people, especially smaller guys, right? They give me so much hope for our future, because we're the next generation, but there are generations after us too, and that's something that I think a lot of people forget too, is that there's people that are going to come after us and continue this amazing work that people have started. And I see that every day through these kindergartners that I get to spend a couple hours of my day with. And an example of that would be, we recently did a lesson with them where we taught these kindergartners about recycling and what recycling is. And these awesome little leaders took it into their hands to write letters to the school principal asking for recycling bins in classrooms and the cafeteria, and they achieved that. So these 6-year-olds went out of their way to help better their school, and I think that's so incredible.
My response is pretty basic too. I would say what makes me stay hopeful is like nature, hanging out with my friends, my teammates, and my family, I would say.
That's not basic, by the way.
Well, makes me feel glad. I'm glad to know that there's people out there making a difference, working hard, doing what they're doing, coming to things like this and listening. That gives me hope.
I think what gives me hope, I'll tell a little story about myself. Before moving into the Lummi Youth Academy, I was kind of like starting to experience the world, but that's also when I found out that my mother was doing drugs, so I was kind of like in a space where I didn't really want to be at home, and that's when she moved me into the academy, and I honestly didn't want to move in at first. I was like bawling my eyes out in the interview, like I don't want to be here, and I don't know what this place is for, but as I moved in, I was actually really glad my mom moved me into that place and to find other outlets to, be distracted for what was going on at home. So like I'd say a place like the Lummi Youth Academy is what gives me hope. Daryl really gave me hope by providing spaces like that for our youth, and to know that we have love and that we have support, and to know that being involved in our culture and our way of life, and to keep keep us involved in our community. Like a lot of our youth got to do that, and like how we talked about having that third space, I feel like the Lummi Youth Academy was a third space for a lot of our youth, because not just the people that live there like love being there, even people came from the high school and would come and hang out with us, and just eat lunch with us or eat dinner with us. And we've always had a space to where we could connect. We always had this circle. It was what we called it our family circle. So we'd always sit down and talk about whatever we needed to during that day. And he still provides us that till that day at Children of the Setting Sun. And I think another thing that gives me hope is the Chelangan Village. This is a place for, like people that want to be in a safe place and, that are in bad environments or like, say, getting out of jail or getting out of treatment. This is a place that you could go to so you don't have to go and so you don't have to go back into like they were saying in the panel before, like relapsing. This is a space that's provided so that you can go and be there and continue your healthy journey and your way of life. And Chelangan in our language means way of life. So I think places like that is what gives me hope for our future, and to know that we could all have a place and a space so where we can have that love and that support and the mental health support that is needed for people after coming out of recovery. And just being with people, even these people on these panel, is what gives me hope, and everybody that put this thing together is what gives me hope. So I want to thank Jason and Carrie and Sue and Heather for asking us to be a part of this, and having the space to have our voices be heard. So I love that this was provided for us, and spending these few days with these people have really is what gave me hope. So I appreciate it. Hi, Shka.
Oops. Okay, well, to go off of what they said, because I wasn't really prepared for this question exactly, but what gives me hope is, being here now, being surrounded by people who have clearly put forth an honest effort to see that this is a problem, that it is a crisis. Crisis is a great word because I slowly watched over the course of 3 years blues and fentanyl-like drugs just sweep through my friends, and actually kind of recently took one of them. I just want to say rest in peace to Aaron. I love and miss you. Have to put that out there. But yeah, it's something that seems like kind of a facade that people don't want to talk about. And at the time of Aaron's passing and seeing all this heavy drug use and all of that, I just kind of wondered to myself, what as a community, what as Bellingham are we doing? We, from the outside in, kind of seem like this cheery, liberal, upbeat town, which in certain lights and aspects we are. But if we're being honest, people smoking on foil outside of Menchie's in front of children and stuff is definitely a part of now everyday lifestyle for people of our community. And what are we doing to combat that? This right now. And this is what gives me hope, because I didn't even think this would exist or be a thing until I got asked to come to it. And also, I just want to add that I didn't know that this was happening until someone like Jason told me. And upon posting on Facebook and Snapchat and getting it out there that this was what I was doing today, tons of my friends and people in my family reached out and said, how can I be a part of this? How can I be there? Because they didn't even have a clue it existed. So how can you be a part of a change that you don't know is existing, right? And for me, let's find more ways to take whatever you guys do at work and take that home and talk to people that your loved ones or your friends, and invite them to these gatherings and really treat it as if it is everyday life, because the things we're talking about are everyday life. And yeah.
Wow.
He just gave us our call to action.
Can I add on to what Cyrus?
Absolutely.
Okay, so another thing that.
It just came on.
Yeah, now it's on.
Okay, perfect. So another thing that gives me hope, as Cyrus was saying, is people here today. I had no idea that there were so many people out there who were wanting to learn and hear from others' experiences until I came here, and I was like, There's so many people here today listening to our stories and those other stories that were shared today. And I think that's incredible. There's so many people that they're open-minded, their ears are open, and they're wanting to learn, listen, and grow from everyone's shared experiences. And I think that's amazing, because I know there are so many people in this room and outside of this room today in our community that are wanting to make this change and listen to these stories. And that's what keeps me hopeful, is knowing that there are people out there who want to make a difference.
Yeah, so I think that kind of just gave me a little thought. But I think I felt a lot of love and a lot of support from y'all and a lot of respect and from everybody here today that is here to support us. And I just want to say, like, I've come out the other side, sort of my addiction, and like a lot of people are very supportive when I tell my story. But I think we need to bring that same dignity and respect to those of us who are in active addiction, to the peoples on the streets. It's really crucial.
Yes.
So Reagan, without putting you too much on the spot, what would you have needed during that time?
That is a great question. Yeah, no, I'm happy to answer that. I think it is that kind of the secretive thoughts and feelings that people have about folks, the closed door conversations where, you know, everyone in the room is of privileged identity. I think it's those moments where when you know that people are having conversations that they are devaluing human beings, you need to stand up, you need to call that out. And I think that if I had more people that had my back when I wasn't around, that more social change would occur, and like the mentality around it would, yeah. So just more transparency and vulnerability. Like we all go through things, we all have struggles, and to varying degrees we experience these addiction and mental health situations. We just need to be real about that and like be honest.
No, thank you. I'm gonna do the same thing and pivot to a question that we don't have down on here. But Emily, yes. Yesterday you asked this question. I want to ask this panel this question. If you had $10 million that you had to spend, not on yourselves, but just the community, what would you spend it on? Who wants to take that?
I definitely have an answer, but I just talked to someone else.
I'm worried I'm going to steal someone else's answer, but I'm going to say housing homeless youth, because there's so many people. People just, you never know, like, anyone's life or home or what it's like for them, and I think that there's so many more youth out there than people realize that are maybe housed currently but are in unsafe spaces or don't have a supportive family, and I think that's what I would use that money for sure, is getting those safe spaces and housing for those that are in need of it.
Yeah.
We want you all to answer.
I'm just gonna say the third spaces, I'd put into that, different places like that. And I don't like the term extracurricular, because it really adds like that need for it to be like a special, like, you know, it should feel normal to be able to go do things like that. That should be a normal everyday life thing. Events, I definitely, as you know, I want to host one of my own. So that, obviously, things to that nature that really connect and gather the community. The money should go towards the people, for the people, of the people, you know, through voices like ours. And, you know, what we spend it on should be a true reflection of what we need. And I think that's the best answer I can give.
I would have to say housing, but also, like, I was talking to my coworker one day, and me and him were like just going back and forth about ideas, and he suggested tiny homes, you know, for people. You know, we don't need a big space to live in, but tiny homes would be a great outlet for people to live in, especially for our homeless people that live out on the streets.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Well, what I was thinking, this goes back to my childhood and what I thought I needed. I felt like if I had some way that could have taught me maybe some entrepreneurship, maybe some other way to make money, whether it be maybe trying to do my own clothes or anything that I wanted to do. If there was something out there that would help young adults, teenagers, to build that mindset, get them in that right state of mind for, say in their 20s, and just put that in there for them and just help influence them, maybe even keep them away from drugs, just little things like that would have been perfect,
Okay, my answer. If I had $10 million, I would start a safe use site here in Bellingham. Yes. Oh, yeah. That is something we need, and working at the ground floor, it's something we intimately need, for sure. When you're in social services, you got your people in sobriety, and we love that, we respect that. We want to uplift that. But you also have your individuals who are in active use, and we also respect that. But, the two situations, it's kind of tough to balance both, and people need clean use items, they need doctors around, they need people that have naloxone, that is essential, and preventing harm will be able to rebuild that trust with these populations. I think a lot of the reasons why people don't want to go to treatment is because it's traumatized them in the past, and it's not funded enough, and so we really need to rebuild that trust.
Before I pass it back to Carrie to ask the last question, because I think we're almost at time, you all just heard that. If they had $10 million, the funders out there, city, county, philanthropy, this is what they want.
Absolutely. So as we round out this discussion, which I think we've learned more in the last couple of days from this group than you guys have just got this little nugget in the last hour, but if you could give the audience, knowing that there are representatives from all areas in the community, what is one call to action that you would want to see implemented or worked on or started either immediately or in the next year? What would be your ask?
I want to go last.
No new jail.
I would say, specifically, thinking of schools, I think there needs to be more safe adults that are there. At my school, personally, we have 3 counselors, 2 for scheduling, and then we have a drug counselor. And it's we have schools like Ferndale that are bigger, that have student support counselors, college counselors, and it's how are we supposed to get the help we need if the counselors are always busy making the schedules? So I would say a big thing would be we need adults reaching out. There's so much self-stigma with, it's just hard to have the courage to reach out and ask for help. So I think a big thing would be adults reaching out.
Great.
I'm gonna kind of build off that idea, and I cannot say this enough. Support from the community. I think we live in a time and age where there's so many differences between people in our community and just in the world in general, whether that be age difference, political views, whatever that is. And I think that people tend to forget that we are a community. That is the purpose of community, is supporting each other and being there for everyone, no matter what their background is, what the experiences they've lived, everything. Just have each other's back and have that empathy for people. You never know what's going on in someone's life or how they might be struggling or what background they came from. And everyone, no matter who you are, can use support. And so I think that would be mine, is just support your peers, support the people around you, and don't make assumptions about people you don't know. Just offer that love and support no matter what.
I think a call for action for me is the neighborhood I lived in before. It's my family neighborhood, and it's like one of the biggest drug trafficking places in Lummi. So I feel like just to be in this space, I would really want to work towards getting my family neighborhood cleared out, because after my grandfather passed away, it just turned into like, it just went really crazy, and I have had to live through all that for the past 5 years, and it's been really difficult to like feel like I was being heard on getting the support that I needed to do that. But it's also a private property, so it's really hard for people to get people off that out of my neighborhood, because my family allows these people in these spaces. So I feel like needing that, and to provide just to have a healthy space for my family to be in, so it's not so crowded with others. And I think just like being here and being supportive in any way that I can be. I really needed to like heal myself before helping others in my family. I was just in a space where I was like really mad and really angry for a really long time, and I just want to do the best that I can to be there and support them, because sorry. I'm just so tired of seeing my family members over and over again be lost in this way of life, and it's been like this for a really long time. So I just want to be able to help in any way that I can. So being like volunteering and helping in places, like even in my community, like you've heard in the panel before, that our tribal communities are doing really good job to find spaces like that for people. So
I love that. So I came a little prepared for this one. And I think the question was worded a little different when we talked about it last time.
You answer however you need to.
Thank you. Something about a future in which I see. So kind of prepared this. Here we go. I see a possible future, a near future, in which our community, our people, addicts and non-addicts alike, have truly been given clear, understandable routes in which they can connect, channel their ideas, creativity, and grow. With the help of new spaces, ones that inspire, uplift, and elevate themselves and others. Through an earnest compassion for your fellow man, this can be done. At this moment, Whatcom County, Bellingham, and its neighboring cities have done a decent job at providing some of these outlets for its people. Yes, but I feel we must, as a people, greatly improve upon the foundation built here, push a true agenda, one centered around real culture, real community, and honest work done by honest people. We must stop lying to ourselves. We must do this work not only for us, but for the next generation, for our kids, teens, friends, mothers, brothers, family, and the ones who come after us. Thank you.
Thank you. So earlier, before we started today's session, I think Heather said something about people showing up and being vulnerable, and you guys showed up and were vulnerable and told your stories and spoke your truth, and now it's our job to take the words that you've said and put it into action. So we want to applaud them one more time for being here, showing us by example. Okay. And if there's not a new building in Bellingham called Third Space by this time next year, we've not done our jobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
We go down this
Yeah,
way.
you can go that
All right, we're gonna go to a break, but we're not gonna go just yet. Thank you all so very much. I'm like shaking with good energy, and that was like this. You take something that is so hard, and you. My mother says, I have 3 kids, and she always says like when something's going really wrong, just pour love on it. Pour more love on whatever is malfunctioning, and that is likely to get you a few steps towards a solution. And I just want to capture my own experience in this day and yesterday, because sometimes in the system it feels so heavy all the time. And I've been in this system work for a long time now, and it oftentimes feels like we're going in circles. And so yesterday when we were thinking about the structure of these 2 days, yesterday we were like, okay, we're gonna work on building compassion in our first day and understanding of the problem. So we did that yesterday, and it was hard and heavy. And then today, we wanted to focus on inspiration and action. And we have just heard from 2 of the most incredible panels, our incredible leadership from within our local tribes, and these amazing humans here. And it's such an inspiring energy to hear the pain comes back out as love, right? It comes back out as love. And I don't know if you all could feel that, but it's like quivery for me, because it is so beautiful to hear you all talk about making the world better by acting with love in everything that you do. So I just want to thank you for that gift to all of us. There was a lot of discussion recently about where youth can be most effective, and I sort of feel like just give you the money and the keys, and we're all going to be fine. So thank you for taking the time to be here and to share so vulnerably. And Carrie, you said now it's our job to work on action, but I want you all to come and work on action with us, because I think if we keep you at the center of the table, we're going to end up in a better place than if you walk away and try and let us do this work. Which is, by the way, the thing we're going to spend the rest of this day doing. So I hope you can stay with us if you can, and cultivate this energy that we have been given here with these 2 panels and with our morning sessions, and really think about how to break loose some of the old thinking in our minds to really lead with openness and with curiosity and with love as we go into our sessions this afternoon at your tables. It's 3 o'clock. At 3:15, we're going to call you together at your tables that you were at yesterday. If you weren't at a table yesterday because you weren't here, there is a table number on the back of your name tag. So find that table. If that table has nobody at it, come and find somebody with a green lanyard, and we'll get you to some people. Okay? Thanks, everybody.